Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this Spellbinders card making project. I'm just going to run through a few of the items that we're going to use from Spellbinders to make a gorgeous card that's a little bit different, and if red and white is your colour, then you've tuned into the right demonstration. Everything I do use will be listed on my blog, and if you need any information or you want to comment or you've got any questions, please ask me on my blog, because I can't reply to you on YouTube. So the first item we're going to use is the Full Love background. This is a full size large rubber stamp from Spellbinders. We're then going to use the tiny sentiments. We've used these before, very useful for our insides and our outsides. Give a nice impression, and there's lots of different sentiments. We're also going to use labels 33, extremely useful, versatile and essential, I would say, for your stash because of the matting and layering that you can get with them. And then we're going to use this. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know, I have wrote the name on it. Spellbinders Classic Swoosh Accents Etch Dies. So that's what we're going to use as a focal point. So we'll put those to one side, and without further ado, we shall get on with our card. Now, I'm using my classic 7x5 size, and I think by now we need to call it Anne-Marie's card size, because it is my favourite, and I know for my viewer that is faithful and has watched me since day one, I keep saying that. It's the best real estate area size that you can get, I think. It's not too big, it's not too small. You're not going to look at it and feel daunted with the fact that you've got to cover it. So on our cardometer, also, because I must remember to keep showing you my cardometer, it sits nicely below the A5 and just above the A6 UK standard sizes. For my friends across the pond, I know your sizing is a little bit different, but you will get the idea. It's just to give you an idea of what size it is when you're sat at home at your crafty space. So the first thing we're going to do is, if I haven't already just done it without thinking, use my bone folder to make sure I've got a good sharp score along the edge. And then we're going to do the inside. Now, I know a lot of you tune in because you just like to see the ideas for the insides, which is fine. It's great, I'm happy that you've, come to watch, basically. And if it helps and gives you a little bit of inspiration, then that's why I'm here. So the first thing I've done is I've taken a piece of card that will sit nicely inside of our card. And I've actually used the Spellbinders Rectangle B plates to make this. When I'm saying plates, B is the set. And it's the first, the largest die in the set from the B that sits nicely inside the 7x5 cards. So I've cut out a piece of white cardstock, and then I have added a little bit of a mask over it. I cut a piece of card to sit through the centre, and then I stamped around the I stamped over it, and then I took the mask away that leaves me the gap in the centre and the stamping around the edge, and then I've inked it, and then I've used our labels 33 to cut an aperture through the centre. So now I can add this to our card. Now, I know I've mentioned this before. Somebody said that my videos are too long, which I'm sorry if you think they're too long, but I like to explain everything as we go. And I suppose we've got to think they'd be even longer if I did the process actually to film it as well. So I think I try to keep them about 10 minutes because I think, that's just a nice snippet, 5 to 10 minutes. And then, you can watch whenever you like. You don't have to set an hour aside or anything. So that's the first layer of our inside. Next, I've used our labels 33 again. and I've used some red cardstock that I've actually stamped on, and then I've cut out the smallest of the labels, 33, and the next size to create a frame. And I've put it through my Xyron machine, and this will fit perfectly into the aperture that we've already cut, because we've used the same die to cut the aperture as to make the actual frame. So that sits inside, and then I've used the smallest of the labels, 33. I've stamped it using our tiny sentiments, and I've just coloured in the heart that's with the tiny sentiments. So I can peel that away from my Xyron carrier sheet, and I can add that inside the frame. So our insert is flat, we're not adding any extra bulk to it, and the card will still close up, and you've got room to add your to and from and a little message. So that's the inside of our card done, and I'm just going to use my bone folder again to make sure I've still got a nice professional crease down the side. Now my first layer for the outside is using Spellbinders set A and the largest of the rectangles, and you can see I've been sneaky, I've cut an aperture out of this because this is from our Swoosh dies, because obviously this is going to be hidden, so we're not going to know I've done that. But I think I must have been running a little bit short of card, and I didn't want to waste anything, so I thought I want it still to match. I shall make the most of the card that we're going to cover over. So with double-sided tape, I'm adding my layer to our card like that. Now my next layer is a full size black layer. I haven't cut any of this out because I didn't want to cut out 2 layers together to save, because then you would get a little bit of an indent. So we can layer this up. This is the next size down in our set of nesting rectangles. So now we've got our nice matte and layer sheet. Next I've taken our love stamp and I've stamped it on white card and red card. On the white card I've used a red ink pad, which was the Stays On red. I'm forgetting the actual, I think it was cherry red, something like that. I'll put it on the blog. And then I've used a black ink pad, and then I've taken both sheets and I've taken them through the die cutting machine with the rectangle, and I've added them both together and I've stuck them both together, so we've got half and half, as it were. Now before I add these to my card, I'm going to add something to cover over the join, because I know you sat there at home and you're thinking, oh, there's a nasty join across the centre. Well, there is, but there won't be for long. So I've got a piece of red ribbon and I'm simply going to add this across the centre, and that will cover up our join, and then I can fold the ends around and attach them to the back, trying to keep it straight at the same time. And there we go. So now we've covered up the join, and that can go onto our card front using double-sided tape like that. Just press it down. Next, now we're starting to use our swoosh dies, and I'm going to add one roughly there, I would say, like so. Oh, excuse me. And then I've cut out another one in white, so you can see we've got the red and white theme like that. Now the smaller of the swoosh dies I've cut out, and they're actually the decoupage layers that sit over the top of the larger layer, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit so that it sits just to the bottom of our die cut. And in actual fact I've done it the wrong way around. There we go. I want the red on the white and the white on the red, like so. And these are all with the 3D foam. Now I know you're thinking, oh, you can see that little bit. Well, don't panic, because I've cut a white label 33 out, and that is going to sit just above our little part of the swoosh dies. And I'm just adding the flourish bits that are on the end so that it sits around our label 33, like that. And I can press that down, and then the smallest of the labels, now I've used the same stamp that I've used for the inside, and again I've stamped it in black stays on, and I've coloured the heart with red pen, but I've also just highlighted it with the glossy accents as well. It's on 3D foam, and I'm going to add it through the centre of our last layer, like that. And then I'm going to finish the card off with two little bows, two little red bows at either side, and that is our card finished. And it's such an easy card, great for anyone that you want to send best wishes to. You could change the sentiment and add a lovey-dovey sentiment. There's one in the set that says I love you. You could do that with it being red and white. Turn it into a Valentine's card. But I think for just sending somebody best wishes, and you know that they know you love them, so ideal for a family member or a friend, just something a little bit different. And I think that's a good card out of just the one set of dies and then the labels dies. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching. Please check out my other video projects. I've got so many. I've got some step-by-steps on the website, on the blog, sorry, as well, for other videos that I've done for maybe Craft Stash, and there's the Anna Griffin videos, etc. So please check it out if you've got time. Give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. I love hearing from you. And I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.